Spray painting this with a full-size Jaws from 007. With my son and someone else's painted dog. My two slaves just whiten it out so that the spray paints will go onto the surface. If you leave it on a ply board, onto the ply, the spray paint, it just absorbs. So you just need any colour, just whack it on. They're doing a grand job. Looking good. Looking good. So for this sort of execution, when I need to be perfect, I've come up here a little bit late. The boy's in bed, and there we go. I've projected. I've measured that 7'5" life-size Jaws. How cool is that? And then what I do is I simply trace round the basics. How easy is that? And here we have it. A bit of scale. You can just sort of see the outline. Yeah, so we're going to paint that up in a bit. The Jaws artwork is going to be part of a scarecrow display at our house. And it's going to be themed James Bond, and this is 007's head. So, with this sort of mural, I've got my son, aged 8, on the camera, by the way. We're going to start with his legs first and just put the mid-colour. So we'll do that with each part. Pour the head, the shirt, the trousers. We start with the mid-colour, and then from there you can drop in the dark and the light. And then we've got this basic outline to go around. And then if we go over the line, we'll just cut back with white. Or with this particular one, I'm actually going to cut out Jaws. So if you go over a little bit, it doesn't matter. See here, what I use as a reference is another phone. And going back over here to the trousers, it's kind of like a grey with maybe a little skim of kind of brown. But yeah, we'll just skim that colour in first. There we are, nice and close. Smooth flow on that, that's it. Oh, Christ. The boys started it off, but let's just do a little bit. Yeah, we've gone a bit dark on the grey, but that's all right. We can always sort that out in a bit. So we're just going to lighten up that grey a little bit. I'm just doing a flow up and down where the fabric texture, if you start going across like that, it kind of looks uneven. So think about what you're trying to emulate is fabric material. I'm just going over with a kind of walnut brown. So I'm not doing any of the shading just yet. But this is all, and here, this is where I'm going to cut it back and make a tight line. So don't really worry too much about going over the edge at this point. Right, now I'm just going to add some of the shadow in onto the trousers as the light's coming from this direction. Safety wise, so here we've got the overspray. Now I'm going to cut this out, so it doesn't really matter, but just to show you the difference when you crisp the lines off, we'll just do that now. Get the can going properly. See what I mean? So the cut back just gives that fine line. So I'll know where the painting's going then, and it just looks nicer. I'm working the
on
same applies
George's hands,
George's head.
These are important.
I'm just putting on the
nice
similar sort of creams.
I'm just putting
and,
the base
I'll
creams
add
down
all the details
before
later
lighter
with a
tones
slightly
in
different
a couple of moments.
nozzle attachment on the spray can to get that all important detail. That's done, so let's move on to his hair. And this I'm going with more of a darker brown, adding his famous side part in that you can really see starting to come together now. Now, from the original reference picture, I'm just going to put in the creases of his shirt. And if you can see, I've lightly got these penciled in. So I'm kind of adding a bit of the dark colour. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect. And yeah, again, this is just giving that kind of body to Jaws and adding to his strength overall. I think my son's got bored at this point and he's zipped off on his bike somewhere. And I'm sure he'll show up in a bit. Jaws is 7'5", so you can see I've had to bust out the step here. Really shows he's a man mountain. I'm quickly working on the hands now with some more details. I'm using a stencil cap called a Tiny Pink. So I've been looking forward to this bit. It's doing the braces here. And here's my cameraman. Let me go and... so I'm going to do the braces. Try to do them in one. Let's go. Have you got the good angle there?
Yeah.
So it's down to there like that. This is quite exciting because the braces are such an iconic part of Jaws, the character in James Bond. It's best just to go for it. If you dither on this, you'll just get the deadly drips. Not bad. Now, my son has cleared off on his bike again, so it's time for me to get the tiny pink cap onto the can. And this allows me to do some of the darker highlights on the face and add those real details. Jaws himself has got a kind of funny indentation almost on his forehead, so I'm trying to work that into the design. And now you can see I'm just about to get onto those famous teeth. So I'm going to start with the grey on the teeth and then add the white contrast and just skim in some light greys, and that's going to give the indication of those iconic Jaws. Okay, so I'm really happy with that. I'm just cutting them out. I'm then going to grind back the edges to give a really neat finish after this. I also want to add some more detail to the braces, so I've masking taped around and just skimmed in some darker tones and lighter tones, just very subtly. Always satisfying to take the tape off. Looking good, and he's ready to be taken back to the house for the Scarecrow display. You don't often see a 9-year-old carrying a life-size Jaws, but it's time to take him back to the house and put him to work with the rest of the James Bond ensemble. We've got Jaws there, life-size, the golden gun, James Bond himself, rather dodgy, the knife shoes, and Oddjob's hat at the top with Baron Samedi and Blofeld's cat in the box. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want more, look in the top right corner and you're going to see a fantastic video where we recreate Rod Stewart at Glastonbury Festival.